We were sitting at home and heard that someone was sitting there. We saw that there were 4 soldiers. We knocked on the window, said that we were surrendering, left our weapons in the house and jumped out the window to them. We spent 12 days at the position above the house. Our task was to observe the road, to watch it and report what was happening. Each of us had 4 magazines with us. Water and food were brought to us, said Baba Yaga. We would ask and request, and they would bring it whenever they could.
A massive humiliation for President Zelensky as his own soldiers laid down arms instead of fighting the advancing Russian forces. With morale collapsing and shortages worsening, Ukrainian troops are choosing survival over battle, and the result is devastating. Ukraine has lost the strategic stronghold of Seversk, a defeat that military analysts warn could mark a major turning point in the war. RT's latest footage shows Ukrainian fighters emptying positions in Dimitrov, Donetsk, surrendering under the watch of Russian drones hovering above them. A Ukrainian soldier captured by Russia from the battlefield claimed that he surrendered to survive.
We were sitting at home and heard that someone was sitting there. We saw that there were 4 soldiers. We knocked on the window, said that we were surrendering, left our weapons in the house and jumped out the window to them. We spent 12 days at the position above the house. Our task was to observe the road, to watch it and report what was happening. Each of us had 4 magazines with us. Water and food were brought to us, said Baba Yaga. We would ask and request, and they would bring it whenever they could. During those 12 days, Baba Yaga came to us 3 times. At first I was in Rokovka for 60 days, and before coming here, we spent 3 weeks in Ternopil and 2 in Vinnytsia. When we were undergoing training, I saw 2 Cubans. They were also going through the training. Most likely they were mercenaries. Over the radio I heard that there were 2 killed in action in the first days, right after they arrived, and 1 was wounded. When she was captured, the Russians gave us cigarettes, water to drink, and some food they had with them. They shared it with us. During that time, we were also in the basements, rummaging around, looking for something to eat and taking it with us. My daughter is 13 years old, in the 8th grade in Rava Ruska. My wife is a hairdresser, does haircuts. She also lives in Rava Ruska. I was on my way home from work when the territorial recruitment center caught me. A van pulled up on the road, the door opened, and they threw me inside. My salary was deposited onto my card, 20,000 hryvnias. I would transfer it to my wife.
Meanwhile, Russia is celebrating one of its biggest frontline breakthroughs in months. The liberation of Seversk means a huge symbolic victory for the Putin forces. Seversk opens up the way for Russian forces to advance on the key cities of Kramatorsk and Slavyansk, both of which are major hubs for the Ukrainian military. Servicemen of the Yug group of forces deployed the state flag of the Russian Federation near the city administration of Seversk, next to the Great Patriotic War Heroes Memorial, and in Victory Park, near a monument of a legendary Soviet tank T-34, as well as on the streets and roofs of the city's houses, which were taken under the control of the Russian armed forces. Celebrating the capture of Seversk, Russian soldiers chant, "Victory will be ours."
Товарищ Верховный Главнокомандующий, докладывает стрелок механизированной роты 1-го МСБ ТРО 123-й отдельной гвардейской мотострелковой бригады 3-й общевойсковой армии Южного военного округа рядовой Писаренко по позывному «Молодой». Город Северск под нашим контролем. Мы находимся в здании городской администрации. Победа будет за нами.
Бойцы 123-й бригады, отряда «Шторм», город Северск освободили. Победа будет за нами. Победа будет за нами.
Мы 123-я мотострелковая бригада, 1-й МСБ. Взяли и освободили населенный пункт, город Северск. Победа будет за нами.
Russian Defense Minister congratulates servicemen on the liberation of Seversk in the Donetsk People's Republic. Andriy Belosov congratulated the command and personnel of the 6th Separate Guards Motorized Rifle Brigade of the Lysychansk Cossack Brigade, named after M.I. Platov, and the 123rd Separate Guards Motorized Rifle Brigade, named after K.E. Voroshilov, on the liberation of Seversk in Donetsk. Meanwhile, Russian soldiers advanced deeper, trying to grab as much Ukrainian land as possible before Zelensky signs Trump-backed peace deal to end the war. Servicemen of the 2nd Combined Arms Army of the Center Group of Forces can be seen going on evacuating civilians in Krasnoarmysk in the Donetsk People's Republic. The Russian servicemen also rendered medical aid to the wounded civilians. The Center Group's Zemlyadelya remote mine-laying system crew blocked the enemy's routes of movement and supply in the Krasnoarmysk direction. They fired a salvo of projectiles with programmable ammunition to set up mine barriers along supply routes and possible withdrawal routes of Ukrainian militants.
Putin's war machine unstoppable. Zelensky loses key stronghold. German journalist calls out EU, NATO, and United States. Nothing left to stop Russia. Roper after Seversk falls. Ukraine shrinking day by day as peace deal remains unsigned. Shock waves across Western capitals. Russia has seized yet another Ukrainian stronghold. The strategic city of Seversk has fallen. And now a German war correspondent, Thomas Roper, is delivering a brutal message to the West, along with rubbing salt on wounds. In a most scathing message, Roper said there is not much left in Ukraine to stop Russia after the fall of Seversk in Donetsk. Questioning Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky over his reluctance to sign the U.S. President Donald Trump brokered peace deal, the German war correspondent blamed his European backers for sabotaging. Roper told Russia Today, RT News, Seversk was maybe the last fortress until the Donetsk River. He said there will not be much left to stop the Russians, especially having in mind that the Ukrainian forces are very low on personnel. And when asked about what the loss of Seversk would mean for Ukraine's battlefield situation, he said it's hopeless. So what else is causing a delay in signing the peace treaty by Zelensky? Well, according to the German journalist, the Ukrainian president might face a real physical danger at home if he backs down. Roper said Zelensky is stalling with his most recent statements about potential elections and referendums on land concessions. The process could take months or years. Russia captures Seversk. What it means. The Russian Defense Ministry on December 11th claimed that Seversk was cleared of enemy troops. Video shows Russian soldiers have begun providing aid to civilians in the newly liberated Seversk. The Russian MOD said in a statement that troops have been going door to door to assist the civilians remaining in the city. Residents purportedly greeted the Russian servicemen and thanked them for liberating the city. The Russian soldiers in return deliver food, drinking water, and medicine. Civilians are also offered the opportunity to be evacuated to temporary accommodation away from the front line, where they receive all necessary assistance. The fortified Donbass city had seen sporadic fighting since 2022. Taking Seversk opens up the way for Russian forces to advance on the key cities of Kramatorsk and Slavyansk, both of which are major hubs for the Ukrainian military. Russian troops are in fact already moving toward Slavyansk, the commander of Russia's 3rd Army Corps, Lieutenant General Igor Kuznenkov, told President Putin at a meeting on Thursday. Putin noted that with a steady and regular liberation of settlements in Russia's Donetsk, Lugansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhia regions, the strategic initiative is entirely in the hands of the Russian armed forces. Since early November, Russian forces have captured dozens of settlements across Donetsk, Lugansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhia, and even parts of Kharkiv, Sumy, and Dnipropetrovsk, including major logistical hubs like Krasnoarmysk and Kupiansk.